Hey guys, welcome to Mind Hacking Happiness Podcast. This is day 2 of the 45-day Mind Mastery 101, which is now a free course for the time being. If you want complete access to this course indefinitely, you got to go to the website mindhackinghappiness.com and click the online courses button and then sign up for the Mind Mastery 101, which will be $0. It'll be free forever, give you access forever. But I'm also presenting it here and a few other places on the web for free so that you can get access to how to take control of your mind and get us through these turbulent times, especially in times where people lost their jobs or their incomes have been affected, etc. You get this $1,000 course for free. So it's kind of my gift to you to say, hey, all this information should be available to you in these times of trouble to turn your negativity and your stress level and all that other stuff down, because there's a physical button in your brain that you can push that causes that to happen based on how your brain is wired. And all you have to do is move a couple things around inside your own mind. You don't have to change any of your external conditions at all to raise your happiness game, to lower your stress, increase your health, etc. So that's what this series is all about. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to mention. There is a contest that we are putting together, a little giveaway, that if you share this out to folks and they come to the website, log in and register for the course, and then mention that you sent them by, we're going to put a button up there and have a place for them to say, hey, XYZ sent me. If you get 5 of those, you're in a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card. So we're actually giving money away to help other people take control of their minds. So get in on that. Here's day 2. Hey, welcome to day 2 of the 45-day Mind Mastery 101 course for Mind Hacking Happiness. I am your instructor, Sean Webb. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to day 2. Okay, so if you remember from yesterday, we talked about giving you short lessons that can be easily digested, and then we'll give you a little bit of an activity or homework at the end of each lesson. Today, we're going to talk about the basics of your mind. We're going to start right up front with the building blocks of what you're going to need to know to be able to take control of your mind by basically understanding how your mind works from a 50,000-foot view. If you remember fundamental truth yesterday, fundamental truth number 1, you can't control anything without seeing or sensing it, right? And so what we're going to do today is give you a little bit of an insight into how your mind works so that you can get a better grasp on what exactly it is that you're going to be taking control of and utilizing to a higher level than you had before. To do that, I want to start with an experiment. So we're going to jump right in. Now, this will only take about a minute of your time, but it's something that you need to do. What I would like to start with is for you to imagine an elephant. So picture an elephant in your mind. It can be a cartoon elephant. It could be an image of an elephant you saw online somewhere. It can be an image from memory, from real life. If you've been on safari, whatever it is, imagine an elephant in your mind. And now, as a step 2, paint that elephant pink and put purple polka dots on it. So take that real-life elephant or that cartoon elephant or that elephant from memory of online or whatever it is and paint it pink and put some purple polka dots on it. Now, if you're like me, you wind up with something kind of like this. I grab this image and painted it pink with purple polka dots in Photoshop, but you get the point, right? You wound up having an image of something in your mind. So let's talk about what really happened there, because we can think about that process by saying, okay, well, I imagined an elephant, and then I imagined the elephant being pink with purple polka dots. But the reality is, you didn't actually do that. I told you to imagine an elephant, and poof, an elephant magically appeared in your mind. Then I said, hey, let's paint that elephant pink with purple polka dots. And then after a half second or so, poof, you were able to see that elephant be pink with purple polka dots on it. Well, you didn't actually do that. You experienced that elephant. You saw that elephant, but you didn't actually do all that. Let's talk about exactly what we're hinting at there. Because what really happened is that your multiple levels of consciousness worked together to create that image of the elephant for you. If you see over there on the left-hand side, you'll see that I've given you a visual representation of multiple levels of consciousness that exist in your mind. Now, above the dotted line is your waking awareness, right? Now, your waking awareness is what you kind of perceive as your mind at the very moment. It's what you're experiencing at this very second. It's seeing me here on the screen, hearing my voice, seeing this presentation, experiencing the things that exist around you in the room, the stuff that's touching you, the temperature in the air, the thoughts that are going on in your mind. That's all a part of your waking awareness. The things that are coming into your perception are a part of your waking awareness, and that's all above that dotted line. But there's a lot of other activity going on below the dotted line that are classified as levels of subconscious. It's part of your subconscious mind. But there are multiple levels of consciousness going on. There's a level of consciousness that's beating your heart. There's a level of consciousness that's helping you breathe. There's a level of consciousness that's pumping your blood. And up into your brain, there are levels of consciousness that are helping you work your mind and think of thoughts and remember things that you need to go from one day into the next or to serve your needs or whatever, right? So when we're talking about having multiple levels of consciousness, especially in regard to that last experiment we did with the elephant, let's look at what happened when we did that experiment. Well, I asked you to create an elephant in your mind, an image of an elephant. And so you started with an intention. And what that intention did was it was passed down into a top level of subconscious. You didn't actually create that image of that elephant. You said, hey, I want to see an elephant. And then poof, an image of an elephant appeared. Well, what happened was that intention got passed down to a level of consciousness in your mind that's below your waking awareness. It's not typically something that you can have access to, but it's something that's working for you all the time, 24/7, 365. And so what that level of subconscious did is it said, okay, you want to see an image of an elephant? Let me go to imagination or memory or wherever I'm going, and I will grab an image of an elephant, and poof, there it is. And so in your waking awareness, you were able to see that elephant because another level of consciousness did that for you. It grabbed that image and put it up into your waking awareness. And so then I asked you to paint that elephant pink, was one of the first things I said. And so your level of subconsciousness went down to somebody else and said, hey, what does pink look like? And that memory level of consciousness said, hey, here's the color pink. And so the higher level of subconsciousness said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and paint that on there and see what that looks like. And then I said purple polka dots. And so your subconscious then went down to another level and said, hey, what's the color purple look like? And how would it be if we applied polka dots of a pattern with that color, and let me apply that to the elephant, and then said, okay, I got it all put together. Here is your image of the elephant, pink with purple polka dots. And so your level of subconsciousness sent that back up to your waking level of awareness. And poof, when I said, paint your elephant pink with purple polka dots, it magically appeared in your mind. Well, it wasn't magic. It was this whole process of your multiple levels of consciousness working together to be able to serve your needs. Okay? Now, this is important for you to understand, because when we're talking about taking control of your mind, there are multiple levels of consciousness that exist that will help you do that, and that will make it more automatic over time the longer you do it. So it's important for you to understand, one, how your mind works, but two, that there's a whole team of folks in there that is going to help you create this change for you and be able to help you get your mind in order. And when you're taking control of your mind, you're taking control of more than just one thing. You're taking control of a whole army of things in there to help you get this stuff done and to make your life awesome. Okay? So this science is proven most easily by talking about split brain patients. Now, in the world of medicine, there are folks who have these seizures, right? And seizures scientifically happen as a cascade where one domino falls into the next domino, and a lot of times the patterns wind up seizing the brain and creating ripple effects, yada, yada, yada. And sometimes in people, they get so bad that it's debilitating. They have them every 10 to 20 minutes and they can't even live their life. Well, a lot of times in these severe seizure situations, they can cut the corpus callosum. between the left and the right half of the brain to stop that cascading effect and allow at least part of the brain not to seize up, and it can give people back their lives, which is awesome. One of the things that happens, though, is that the left brain can't talk to the right brain, and that has some implications with consciousness. And so scientists then have an opportunity in these split brain patients who have cut the corpus callosum to do experiments in consciousness to find out where consciousness is in the left or the right half of the brain. It's like, where is it? If one half can't talk to the other half, let's poke around and do some experiments. Well, what they found when they do that kind of stuff is that there is consciousness in both halves of the brain. And we're talking about waking awareness in both halves of the brain. So when we're talking about that last diagram of the last slide where we have our waking awareness above a certain level and then we have the multiple levels of consciousness down below, well, it turns out that our waking awareness can be split as well into two different entities. In fact, when they ask people who have split brain occurrences that, what do you want to do when you grow up, or what do you want to do as a vocation, or what do you think you might want to do, they say, well, the left half of the brain says, well, I want to be a doctor, and the right half will give a totally different answer and say race car driver. Now, they do this by giving the patient like two writing utensils, and they write out the answer simultaneously, because the left half of the brain controls the right half of the body, the right half of the brain controls the left half of the body. And when you ask a split brain patient one question, two sides of the brain hear it and give two separate answers. Well, what that is doing, in effect, is proving to us that we have two waking awarenesses active in the split brain situation that can answer a single question in two different ways. So that's pretty interesting to know that there's more than one person in our head besides us. But the reality is that there are multiple levels of consciousness down below our waking consciousness. And psychological sciences calls these subconscious levels, and they're all working for us, but some of them have different opinions, some of them have different thought patterns, that type of thing. And understanding that and getting control of that is critical for us to be able to understand how to take control of our mind and become a mind master. Now, why is this important to understand? That we have multiple levels of waking awareness, we have multiple levels of subconscious awareness at our disposal and in operation at all time? Well, the fact is that there is also a level of conscious awareness that is above our waking awareness. It's a half step above. It's like an extra gear of waking awareness that we can shift into at will. And that level of awareness is called meta-awareness. So what is meta-awareness? Well, meta-awareness is basically what happens when your mind is pointed back onto itself. When your mind's observation looks back upon what the mind itself is doing, that's what meta-awareness is called. Meta-awareness's definition is an awareness of an awareness. It's an awareness of what you're paying attention to. So when your awareness is looking back on what the mind is doing itself, that's meta-awareness. Now, don't let this fancy term scare you, because you already are familiar with meta-awareness and you've already experienced it in your life. So the last time that you were working on something or doing something and you found yourself in a daydream, right? The fact was that your mind was doing something other than what you were supposed to be doing or what you had intended to do. And you were daydreaming about Brad Pitt calling you up and saying, hey, let's go hang out. Well, the moment that you found yourself in that daydream, that was a moment of meta-awareness for you. When you were able to find yourself in that space that looked back down onto your mind, that then said, oh, I'm daydreaming, you're in that space of meta-awareness. Now, I call meta-awareness the mind's control room, because at the moment that you're in that space of meta-awareness and you're able to understand what's going on in your mind at any one moment, you're able to see what's going on in your mind and you're able to control it. Fundamental truth number one. So sometimes I'll talk about the control room of the mind. Sometimes I'll talk about meta-awareness. The terms for me are interchangeable. Okay, so whenever I say one, I mean the other. Whenever I see the other, I mean the one. So at the point that you found yourself in that daydream, you were able to say, okay, I'm going to quit the daydream. Brad Pitt's not really going to call me to say, let's go hang out. I need to get back to work. And at that point, you were able to redirect your mind back to your work and control it into whatever you wanted it to do. Well, that's a really critical function of being able to take control of your mind, because meta-awareness is the control room of your mind. And so the reality is, the secret to a supercharged and happy mind is to be able to enter the control room of meta-awareness at will, at any point that you need to, and take control of your mind. Right? Because at the point that your mind is giving you something that's non-productive or destructive or non-fulfilling or negative in any way, you need to be able to enter the mind's control room, take control of your mind, and redirect it to doing something else. And so the entire secret, and we'll talk about the history of this in future lessons, the entire secret of taking control of your mind and becoming a master of your mind is being able to enter meta-awareness, the control room of your mind, at will, and take control of your mind. Now, on today's homework. On the tack of being able to see your mind is this discipline called meditation. Now, some of you may be familiar with meditation, and some of you may not. Some of you may have tried it and said, it's not for me, or I can't do it, or whatever. Whatever it is, wherever you are, I want you to throw that idea out. Go into meta-awareness and say, what is my thought on meditation? And I want you to toss it out the window. And then I want you to start anew and say, okay, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes today. At the end of the day, right before I go to bed, maybe I'll set aside some time at lunch. Just 10 minutes is all you need. And if you're not going to be able to do this, quit now. Quit this course right now. Give up. Go do something else. Because if you're not going to do the activities that are associated with this course, you're not going to succeed, and you're not going to gain control of anything. Because really, what does meditation help you do? Well, meditation helps you see your mind, because here's the process that you're going to run into, even if you have difficulty meditating. Meditation is supposed to be this, I can focus on my breath. I can focus on just what it is to breathe in and breathe out. And then all of a sudden your mind says, oh, what about this? Oh, I forgot. I need to think about this. Or, oh, what am I going to have for lunch today? Or what am I going to have for dinner tonight? Or, oh, I need to remember to do this tomorrow, or whatever it is. And those ideas come in and interrupt you. Well, that's part of the process of meditating, because meditation is simply an exercise in meta-awareness, okay? It is that place inside your mind where you can see what your mind is doing. At any point that you're focusing on your breath, or you're focusing on whatever it is that you want to do with your meditation, and something comes up and interrupts you, well, don't take that as a failure. That's a success. That is you watching your mind do what it does, which gives you familiarity of how your mind works and what it does when you're not watching it, or when you're not completely in control of it, so that you then can gain better control of it. So if I say meditate for 10 minutes and you're like, oh, God, I don't want to do that, or I don't think I can do that, or that's weird, or that's whatever, throw those thoughts out and do it. Meditate for 10 minutes. If you need instructions on how to meditate, we'll have some basic instructions on the website. Go to mindhackinghappiness.com for those. I'll give you a really simple meditation that you can do for 10 minutes, and allow for those interruptions of your mind to occur, and allow for your mind to refocus itself. Allow for you to say, okay, let's allow that thought to go away, and let's take another focus on the in-breath and focus on the out-breath for our meditation for 10 minutes. Set a timer and get it done. And we'll do more of this. You'll get better at it. Your mind will be on more control. It has great health benefits. You're going to love this as you move forward, even if it's difficult starting out. All right. So if you're familiar with meditation, sorry for the tirade on the folks who are not familiar with it, but you need to do it regardless, because the science is amazing on how it improves your health, it improves your mind capabilities, improves your cognitive abilities, your creativity, of all the really cool stuff that happens. But your homework for today is to meditate for 10 minutes. And that is simply the action of watching your mind and becoming more familiar with it. Okay?
All right. Hope this lesson finds you well. See you tomorrow.